Hi, here is Alex from BSC Designer. In the previous tutorials, we discussed some getting started cases like migrating existing strategy to BSC Designer or brainstorming a completely new strategy. Let's talk about using BSC Designer for regular strategy meetings. What is a strategy meeting? Well, every organization has its own approach. In essence, it's all about a disciplined way of analyzing important challenges and finding the way to deal with them. BSC Designer facilitates the technical side of strategy sessions, like keeping a record of the hypothesis and reasoning behind the goals, managing strategy maps, KPIs, action plans, and keeping stakeholders informed. Our company is mostly a distributed team, and in one of the articles, we shared our approach to strategy meetings. We have a discovery session where we formulate an initial hypothesis, then we validate this hypothesis. Within the next session, we describe our response strategy with the goals, KPIs, and initiatives. And finally, once the strategy is executed, we learn from the obtained results. Let's use an example from the original article to discuss how BC Designer software is useful during those strategy sessions. When analyzing data, the data of customer activity, we noticed that not all paying customers use the software actively. And that was a good reason to plan a strategy meeting to understand what stands behind this problem and how we can improve. We started the discovery session. We had a broad goal: provide excellent customer experience. And we aligned our findings with that goal in the form of a hypothesis. So we created a new record and changed its type to hypothesis. And the necessary details were explained in the name and description field. And we also assigned an owner to this hypothesis. Uh, we briefly discussed how we could get a better idea about the formulated hypothesis. And when the strategy meeting was finished, the software sent a notification to the owner that a new hypothesis has been added to the goal. So users like the software, but something prevented them from unlocking all the potential. It looked like one of the roadblocks was importing existing strategy from spreadsheets. So during the next session, we needed to explore initial hypothesis a little bit more and do some basic validation. To do this, we added two new goals to the learning and growth perspective of the map. Understand the challenges of new customers and understand the data formats of spreadsheet scorecards. The strategy team formulated an initiative for the understanding the challenges of new customers. The initiative was do interviews with paying users. To track the progress of the initiative, we created an indicator, the number of qualified interviews. We planned to stimulate the participation in the interviews with some gift cards. So we specified the estimated budget of this initiative. The indicator, the number of qualified interviews, was assigned as a progress indicator to this initiative. Once we finished with the interviews, we added to the initiative a link to the document with a transcript of the interview calls so we could get back to it if needed. Those interviews helped us formulate two success factors for provide excellent customer service experience. Uh, Easy migration from a spreadsheet and assistance to get started with the software. Now we had a good understanding of the hypothesis and we were ready to do the response session. Additional goals were added to the strategy map to explain how exactly we are going to provide excellent customer service and where we should focus our learning efforts. Um, we assigned strategic themes for the goals. The improve importing and develop strategy with your tool goals match perfectly the product leadership theme. The goal, provide data migration as a service, was assigned to a customer service excellent theme. In this way, our team was able to read the map easier and see how the discussed strategy is impacting key strategic direction. We expected that achieving the goals from their internal perspective um, would impact on the overall performance in a different way. And to reflect this idea, we configured different weights for these goals. So here I have the goals. Here is the weight. So the goal of improving the importing function in the software got the highest weight of 50%, while the goal of developing a strategy wizard tool got the weight of just 20%. To better understand the goals, we aligned several performance indicators with them. Most of the indicators were configured to be updated monthly on the first day of the month. For our NOTAR metric, the percent of users who are active with their accounts, we preferred to gather data quarterly on the first day. We assigned weights and target values for the indicators. For example, percent of forecasts created with the software. Here we had some targets. There were indicators of different type. For example, there was a binary indicator with just two possible states, and here we have it. Binary indicator with just two possible states. Most indicators were with maximize optimization, but one of the indicator, complexity index of import function, was with minimize, was set for minimization. In other words, a lower value in this case resulted in higher performance. During the strategy execution, so basically this session, our team focused on the formulated goals. The progress was tracked with previously defined indicators, and we were able to track this progress via indicator data. When working on the initiatives, we noted down some important changes and the dates when this happened. So, for example, here we have an initiative, and Treasury Wizard Revised initiative was assigned to this date. In future, this could help us to better analyze the effect of this initiative, of the implementation of this initiative. When we needed to discuss some goal or KPIs, we simply shared direct links to the items. In this way, to facilitate the discussion. All owners received updates about the changes in KPIs, upcoming update intervals, and new initiatives added. Finally, to keep top managers informed, uh, a regular performance report was scheduled via the reports function. Okay. So when the team executed the strategy, the final uh, step of strategy process, we did the review session and looked at the data once again. We used the uh, performance dashboard and had some interesting findings. So before we were skeptical about the usefulness of the strategy wizard tool. For that reason, it had just 20% weight in the overall performance calculation. But after looking at the percent of scorecards created with the strategy wizard at the dashboard, we had a clear that once the wizard was implemented, yeah, this date, the date assigned to the initiative, uh, our customers actually started using it actively. Yeah. The correlation between user engagement and the use of the strategy wizard was also interesting to analyze. The team noted down some findings in the form of the initiatives, and for the final report, we exported the dashboard as a picture using this export and added it to the supporting documentation together with the links to some interesting indicators and also with the links to some interesting initiatives. Uh, let's summarize the use of BSC Designer for a technical side of strategy meetings. It helps us note down hypotheses and success factors. It helps us tracking KPIs. We use some initiatives to formulate action plans, their budgets, and link supporting documentation. A one-page strategy map, as well as contextual links to the KPIs and initiatives, made the discussion more productive. The data from the KPIs and initiatives that were visualized on the dashboard helped us to see the trends and make better decisions. The tool kept our strategy team informed via scheduled reports and automatic notification. In the description part, I will share the link to the article about the strategy meetings, and feel free to contact our customer support team if you have any questions about BSC Designer.